On this video, we are going to be bringing you up to speed with all the financial support that's available for small business at this moment in time. So COVID-19, aka the coronavirus, has caused many problems and disruption right now around the UK. And this week's business tax news update, we're going to bring you all the current information. And I stress current because this is changing daily at the moment with what's going on. But right now, at this moment in time, there are quite a few supports and reliefs available depending on your particular situation. It's definitely not at this stage amazing news for everybody, but I do want to bring you up to speed with the main reliefs. And as this is changing so quickly, if you're watching this video, make sure you go to healandassociates.co.uk/COVID19 and you'll find our daily blog that's being updated every time there's something new and important to tell you about there. And also make sure you're following us on all the social media channels. Instagram's quite a good one to keep up with that as well. And of course, YouTube. So yeah, that out of the way, let's get straight in to talk about what's going on. So the first piece of support is if you have a team and you have some people that are ill, you can currently pay them sick pay, COVID-19 related sick pay from day one. Currently it used to be for normal sick pay, you start paying around day 4. Now it's day 1. It's currently reclaimable from the tax man. We don't know how yet. And a lot of these things you're going to hear me say, I'm going to say, well, we don't know the detail yet, but this is what they're saying is going to happen. So right now you need to pay it as an employer, but you can reclaim it. How you reclaim it, we don't know. One option and how it used to work, going back a few years when sick pay was generally reclaimable for small businesses, is you used to knock it off of the PAYE payment that you made on the employee's behalf every month. So one option, and I state this as a complete option, is if you really are strapped for cash, you could potentially not pay it over to the revenue on the basis that you know it's coming back at a later time. So there is that option, but bearing in mind they could try and debt collect you in the meantime. But if it was me and it was a difference between paying my staff and paying the revenue, I'm only picking the staff. So just bear that in mind, and that is one option you can do at the moment. So that's great news for small employers. It's not particularly exciting news for the employees because at the end of the day it's like 94 quid a week or something silly. So at the moment, if you can get them working remotely and doing things at full pay and everything else from home, that's a far better way of dealing with it. But for now, yeah, if they are physically sick and cannot work, even if they could work from home, this is the option available to you. So there's some support for businesses that have premises basically, and it all comes down to this rateable value question and what sector you're in. So if you've got a rateable value of under £12,000, you generally qualify for small business rates relief, which often means you don't pay any rates. Having been an owner of one of those buildings, it's a fantastic benefit because otherwise you pay a lot of money each month. And currently there's a £10,000, it was first announced as a £3,000 grant, but it's subsequently been changed. There's a £10,000 grant available for the businesses that are in that particular place with a building like that. They're currently saying the local authority are going to sort that out. There's nothing you need to claim. There's no action you need to take. It's just going to arrive. However, there's no news on the timescales of that. So right now it's not going to help you pay the bills, but at least you know that it could be coming. Now, if you're in the retail or hospitality sector, it's a lot better because you've got no rates to pay currently. And if you've got a rateable value of over £15,000 and are in those sectors, you've got a grant available for £25,000, which is fantastic. Sadly, the black hole is for people sitting in offices like this, where their rateable value is over £15,000, over £12,000, and currently there's no relief for me and for our business and for many businesses in this position because we're not in those sectors. So it's a little bit of a black hole. You're either getting 10 grand because you're any business in a smaller building, or those in the retail, hospitality and leisure in a larger building are going to get a nice 25k grant. Businesses in the middle, currently there's nothing announced at this moment in time that's going to help you with that one, unfortunately. So there is a business interruption loan scheme. So if you're really struggling to get a lend, and I say struggling to get a lend because one of the criteria that's came out of this is to apply for these cheaper loans and overdraft this government-backed scheme, you're going to need to have been pretty much declined by most of the major lenders, but it is there. So if you're struggling to get credit and get loans, there is these loan schemes available, but they are a loan, they're not a grant like some of the business rates things we've just spoke about, but that is there in the background. One of the major options that's available right now that I'm encouraging all my clients to use, and it's just got better overnight really, is the payment support line. So there's always been a time to pay line. So if you struggle to pay one of your tax bills, your VAT, your PAYE, your income tax, corporation tax, any of those things, you could phone up and ask for a time to pay arrangement. Now they were really pretty good. They'd quiz you and you'd grill you and then end up giving you time to pay. So we did a couple of clients who had a little cash flow bump earlier in the year, used them and got 12 months to pay their PAYE bill that they built up and things like this. So that's always been there. But now there's a new COVID related line. And again, if you check out the blog, all the phone numbers are in there. And that is really, really quite useful. They don't tend to grill you from what we've seen. It's everyone understands there's a problem. And instantly, they've been deferring payments for 3 months and then talking to you about paying it over a longer term. Now, that appears because overnight they've now announced that there is a VAT sort of payment holiday. I don't want to call it a holiday because it's not going away, you've still got to pay it, but it does mean that between now and June, any of the due dates are being bumped back 3 months, which is really, really useful, and it's instant. So a lot of these things that are coming through at the moment, you're not going to see the cash, but right now, if you're struggling for cash flow, the first person I would stop paying would probably be HMRC. Obviously, it's dependent on your situation, and don't go telling people that Dan told you to do it, but ultimately, if you're making that decision of, can I pay my bills, my suppliers, the other small businesses involved in my supply chain and my staff, or pay HMRC, HMRC will do you a deal to delay that payment. So definitely make use of that right now. It's probably the key relief that's available. And if it's your personal tax and you're a sole trader and you don't have all these other taxes to worry about, you might well have a payment on account due in July. They've knocked that back now, so you don't have to pay it until January. That's actually, for technical reasons that I won't bore you with, that's actually really good, because these payments on account are based on the fact that you're going to have a similar sort of year to the year before. With this month particularly dropping off and a few other things that could affect it, actually having it tied up in your January payments a better option, because at least it'll be the correct tax that you'll be handing over. So my advice on that would be, get your tax return done early, the other side of April, and you'll know exactly what that payment in July should have been and is now delayed into January. So as always, surprise, an accountant advocate's getting your tax return in early, but that is quite key to that piece. So the major announcement from yesterday that's got a lot of people excited and also confused at the same time, especially I've spent a lot of time on Facebook last night talking to people in business groups. This question's been asked all the time. So they've announced that they will pay 80% of salary for up to £2,500 a month for workers that are effectively about to be laid off. Now, what's not clear is how laid off they need to be. So if you read the HMRC guidance, the only small amount that's out at the moment, it suggests that they need to be a special type of worker characterised in a certain way that effectively says they're on standby, like we were going to lay them off, and then you can claim this grant back to pay employers. The problem is there's no system yet for this again, so it's not going to be instant, but it should in theory be there. And don't get me wrong, it's a phenomenal idea to help small businesses. We just need the detail right now. What we don't understand is whether there's going to be any exclusions. So for example, a director or anybody like that, the high chance are, I would have thought, that it will be based on your PAYE or payroll amount. So for a director that's normally quite tax efficient and taking a very small, say 8.5 grand salary, 12.5 grand salary, 80% of that, it's not going to be a massive help. But you know what? It's something. So if that's still claimable, I think that's still going to be really, really good. What we don't know is the practicalities of getting that yet. As accountants, we'll obviously be supporting our clients through that process as well and letting them know how to do it or doing it for them, depending on what they want to do. So, but yeah, that's going to be massive. So if you've got a team or even yourself, that's the bit we don't know, is will a one lady, one man limited company director be able to claim anything for them? It seems odd in a way if you can, because the self-employed are still out there on a limb. The true self-employed, in terms of without a limited company, are still out there on a limb with really only universal credit to fall back on. And it's one of the places that in the minute there doesn't appear to be a lot of support other than some extra access to universal credit. So, but if you've never used the universal credit system, and a lot of people don't because they feel morally like it's not there, I don't want to be on benefits, this is the time to really investigate that, I think. How practically easy that is with everybody doing it, I don't know, but it's there, and please do use it if you're laid off. But one thing I would say is just make sure that you're using this time effectively. I spoke about it a lot to my clients and a lot on any of our other social medias, but during this time, it's don't sit at home playing your Xbox or watching Netflix until it all blows over, because we don't know how long it's going to blow over. Try and change that business model, try and get out there into the market and get some work and some money in your hands, really. So, but yeah, that aside, unfortunately, if you don't fit into any of those categories, there isn't a lot more support that's currently being announced. But I say currently being announced because it does change literally hourly at the moment. You can go, I was in the gym last night, the final gym, because they're shutting it all down, and suddenly everything had changed. Amazing news was coming through and we needed to get on and communicate it. So yeah, please do keep an eye on all the channels. So that's it, your business tax news update for the week, Corona special. I'd imagine that it's going to carry on this way for a while, but we will try and weave in some other things, because the one thing to remember is the tax year isn't going away. It's still business as usual on that front, and there's a ton of things to do right now which can help reduce your tax, and we'll be sharing those across our usual social media channels. So if this is the first time you're seeing a video from me or anything else, make sure you follow us, Healan Associates, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all of them, and you won't miss out on any tax reliefs and also any COVID related news. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you on the next one.